And we're back in Finland. Hey guys, so in case you didn't know, the last 2.5 years I've been traveling with Samuli all over the world. We've been learning, training, developing our methods, while at the same time I've been coaching my students online and making these videos for you guys. So this has been quite an adventure. Traveling isn't always too easy. There's always some stuff that you need to handle all the time, spin many plates at the same time. But it's been probably one of the most rewarding time that I've ever had in my life so far. And I want to give you like a quick recap of everything that has happened and what's about to happen this year, 2019. So it's all started, obviously, from Finland. It was a small town called Joensuu. I met Samuli there years back while we were studying. And during this time, before we started our travels, we had already been training for many years. We had lots of experience in strength and conditioning, in mobility training, especially in movement training, also martial arts, dance, things like this. And actually before we moved, we created our very first training program, Movement 20XX. But we soon realized that there's just something that we could only learn through traveling. That's something that we need to go outside of Finland, see the world, to take everything further, to gain new perspective for our training methods. So we headed to Croatia, Zagreb. There wasn't any particular reason why we went there actually. We just thought that it would be a good place to start. We also knew a friend from there, so we went there. So during the year in Croatia, I just remember this time, it was so intense and deep focus on our craft, on training, taking everything further. During this time we were really building this and exploring these building blocks of athletic physique and athletic performance, and this became very important in the future. You will hear about that soon. After Croatia, we traveled to Far East, to Malaysia, which is it's a Muslim country. It's quite multicultural. There's people from all over Asia in there. A very exotic place. I loved it there. We also visited Singapore there, which is a stunning place as well. But this was only kind of before we headed to our main destination, which was Australia, Melbourne. And I'd say the biggest thing in Melbourne, in the very start when we get there, we started to immediately work on our second training program, Athlete 20XX. And as I explained during the year in Croatia, we dwelled really into this athletic training. But so in Australia, Melbourne, this all came together. Everything we had learned during these past years, during the travels, even in Finland, we put into this one majestic system in Australia. So this was during the start of the year. But then the other thing that was actually, I'd say, equally important was actually that was something so different to Croatia. Because in Croatia we were still quite independent trainers. We were focused on doing things by ourselves. But in Australia we really learned from so many other teachers, so many other masters. It was this sort of immersion in more softer styles of training. And I've mentioned about these like the Tai Chi, Qigong, ballet, yoga, Pilates, ballroom dancing. This is the type of training that we noticed that it was somewhat lacking in our method still. Of course we had some of softer principles in training for sure, but still there's a lot of things that were missing. But this was not only the softer styles, we also did a bunch of martial arts. We actually attended seminars from George St-Pierre and also Michael J. White, these sort of legendary martial artists. I learned some of their secrets there as well. But so after this over 2-year period of traveling and of exploration and learning, we have gained so much insight, and we truly realized how much, because despite training before the traveling, we have been training, for many years, but there was still so many holes in our approach, and thanks to these travels, we just gained so much more perspective, and our approach became so much more well-rounded, holistic. And this is something I don't think it would have ever happened if we never set our, foot just outside of Finland. But so our travels, they did not end here, because after Melbourne we then headed to Taiwan for a few weeks. And the reason for this was because we knew there lived this very special Kung Fu master who had taken external, internal Kung Fu quite to extremes. And I would say this master is, by the way, he's Zhang Yushan. He's the Taiwan's monkey Kung Fu master. I would think that he was probably one of the best Kung Fu masters out there. I got to experience this firsthand. Zhang Yushan's style is extremely practical. It's very effective, straightforward. It's not based on stunts. And we didn't only learn the sort of hardening bone stuff there, like hitting your shins and hitting your forearms. We also went very, very deep already into internal Kung Fu. And this was some of the things which was so interesting, because this very short period of time that we tried these principles of the Chinese Kung Fu, it gave us so much perspective already. It was like really getting this knowledge from this 1,000 years old art of Chinese Kung Fu. You must understand that martial artists were the original personal trainers. Back then there was no normal trainers. These were the Kung Fu masters or whatever they were. They were the original trainers back in those days. So after Taiwan, we then went to Japan. We were in Osaka first, but then we went to the countryside to see the grave and the shrine of the samurai Miyamoto Musashi. He's a very legendary swordsman of his time. And we had read his book. We gained a lot of inspiration, perspective from him as well. And it was just to pay our respects for this master. And I must say, I was so surprised of this countryside. I didn't have really any expectations, but it's so beautiful, so quiet, such an amazing area. I could have cycled there and see the views, the scenery, the mountains there for like a week, but I only spent a couple of days, and then we were off to our next destination, which was Kazakhstan. So Kazakhstan, our main reason was just kind of the thrill of it. It was something very different. We thought this is something we wouldn't experience anywhere else, and it truly was. It's quite isolated still from many Western influences. The country has its very unique own vibe, and I really like it there. The people, they eat horse meat, drink horse milk, camel milk. We had that as well. Very strong taste, but truly a great experience as well. Central Asian place. And from there, from Kazakhstan, we then flew to Israel, Jerusalem. So the idea there was just to see the sort of historical sites of the early Christianity. So in Jerusalem, the old town, the Church of the Crucifixion, and we also went to the Bethlehem, Palestine. It was interesting to see this sort of contrast between these two places, because you always hear about these places in the news, but to truly experience Israel, Jerusalem, Palestine, all this like right there was a bit different. A very intriguing experience. So we then traveled to Greece. We spent a couple of days in the Athens, and then we took a bus ride to a small town called Sparta. You might have seen the video that I put out just a few days ago about the speech in Sparta. The ruins there are magnificent. They're still in great shape, and you really get to experience this history there, and I loved it. I was running there the whole day actually, so I was sweaty, and I had a flu even back then, but I just couldn't help it. But so from Greece we then headed to Germany, and in Germany, the reason why we went to Germany was because there was a seminar of Steve Maxwell. We've known Steve Maxwell for quite a while. He has very similar ideas of training as we do, and I interviewed him as well. The seminar was about breathing and performance for martial artists. But this was truly also a very, very important to have this experience, because Steve has been like into training for 50 years. He's been over 40 years, I think, as a professional in fitness industry. And he has a long-term view that is lacking for most people out there. And this is something, it reinforced so many ideas that we had about training. And so for us, it was so amazing to just hear from someone who is so experienced as Steve, to kind of to hear that we have so many similar ideas, because we have been, performance, posture, health has been the most important things for us for a while. And one of the things that we really learned during all this traveling was how to train in a sustainable way that doesn't break your body, because most people train in a way that gives something, always takes a lot away at the same time, and we don't want this. Already after Croatia, and especially after Melbourne, we started to realize like how unique our own training started to really be. It started to separate from the rest so much. But so, where was I? So after Germany, yeah, we went to Estonia, which is very nearby Finland, just this narrow sea there between us. We wanted to go close by now, just to settle down, calm down there after all the travels. Spent there a couple of weeks, kind of get back to our routines. Just did normal work there, and then here I am, back in Finland right now. And as you can see, it's a full winter here. I don't mind though. My fingers are a little bit frozen here, but otherwise it's good weather to just chill outside like this way. But I wanted to talk to you about also what's going to happen now 2019, because we are going to set our headquarters here in Finland. We are probably going to travel for sure still in the future, learning many things, but this is going to be the base. And the idea, because the past years we've been so focused on getting new insight, learning these new methods, and we've just been like these craftsmen, like so passionate, intensely focused on what we do. But this year we want to truly focus on the community, and this community is really, it's you. We want to help you get the results with our expertise, with our knowledge, with the videos, with our training programs. And this is going to be the main thing during the next year. One of the other things that I have as my personal goals, Samuli as well, we will take very seriously now the sport of MMA. We've been doing martial arts, we've been flirting with martial arts for such a long time. Now it's time to get really familiar with the sport of the MMA, the mixed martial arts. And I think we're going to train like hell this year. The idea is that we would get into cage. I can't say when this is going to happen, but we want to fight. We want to get this experience as well. So this is my personal goal, and the goal we have as the VAHVA Fitness. And some other things that I still want to talk about is, because I know that the new year is here, people have their goals, people make promises for the future, but what usually happens is that they don't stick to these things that they set forth. And I think this is because we all have this sort of threshold where we tend to give up. We start something, things get hard, you don't feel like it, and then you just quit. And when you know this, when you know that there is a threshold, you know that it's gonna come, then it means that you can also prepare for it. And this is what I want you to have in mind. Whatever you start now, whatever goal it is, I think now it's probably gonna be about training. If you watch this, you might have some goals regarding your physique, your health, or maybe you start a new training program. You wanna stick to it. Nothing comes, short. This is the biggest thing nowadays. People expect results immediately, and this is not going to happen. But it's very simple. It all happens step by step. Everything that we've built during these years, the way I've built my physique and improved my performance, it all happens step by step. It never comes everything at once. I can't even count the moments where I felt completely beaten down and just like hopeless almost. But I never gave up. It's like you need to learn to experience that feeling, that uncomfortable feeling, and face it. And first you will just learn to stay there, and then you'll actually learn to act. And that's where the magic happens. You don't care any about those little moments that feel like you're not going forward. You understand these are steps that you need to take. You might think that there's people who reach their goals or who get something done that they don't have this sort of threshold, but that's wrong. Everyone has it. Everyone has it, but it's how people react to it. What is their attitude towards it? When you face a tough situation and you get that moment, do I stop now or do I still keep going for a while? That's the difference between getting where you want and not getting there. Okay, that's it. I think the last 2 weeks I've spent in my parents' place. We've been looking for an apartment. This week we should be getting, just in a few days actually, a new apartment from Helsinki. So I think you're gonna see very soon a video that is filmed from there. And that's all for now. I'm gonna see you very soon. I wish you all a happy new year and stay strong.